there's a circle of people 10 feet away from you and they're laughing at something you will never understand because it happened at a barbecue 3 years ago that you weren't invited to. You want to walk over, your legs have declined the request, your brain starts negotiating, maybe I'll wait for a natural opening, maybe I'll refill this drink I haven't touched. Maybe I'll just live here now, alone, near the coats. Most people think joining a group conversation is about finding the perfect moment to jump in. Wrong. There is no perfect moment, and waiting for one is why you spend entire parties orbiting strangers like a sad little moon. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact sequence for walking up to a circle of people who all know each other and getting absorbed like you were always there. Also, there's one sentence you should never say when you approach a group. It sounds polite. It's social poison. We'll get to it. The moment you decide to approach, your brain does something dumb. It starts writing a script, the perfect entrance line. Something smart, something funny, something that justifies your existence in that circle. Huge mistake, because now you're not joining a conversation. You're backstage rehearsing a one-man show nobody bought tickets for, and while you're polishing draft number 9, the conversation has moved on twice. So forget the line. Use what I call the orbit method. You don't enter a group with words, you enter with distance. Drift closer. Stand about an arm's length from the circle, angled toward it, like you're almost part of it. Then listen. Actually listen. Then react. They laugh, you smile. Somebody says something wild, your eyebrows go up. That's it. You haven't said a single word and you're already half inside. Because a group conversation is a moving highway. You don't merge onto a highway from a dead stop. You match the speed first. The orbit method is you matching speed. I learned this at a wedding where I knew exactly one person, the groom, who was busy getting married. I spent 40 minutes guarding the dessert table like it owed me money. Then I gave up on writing the perfect line, walked over to the loudest group, and just stood there reacting to a story about a stolen rental car. 90 seconds later, a guy turned to me and said, "Can you believe this?" And boom, I was in. I never even introduced myself. Which, by the way, is the next thing almost everybody gets backwards. Most people think you enter a group with an introduction. "Hi, I'm Mark." And then silence. Because you just forced 6 people to stop mid-story and process a stranger. The group froze, and you did that. Names come later, content comes first. Entering on the topic is a social cheat code, because the group's attention is already on the topic. You're not interrupting the flow, you're feeding it. So when there's a gap, come in on the story. Wait, did you actually do that? Okay, I need to hear the rest of this. Hold on, how did that end? Any of those work, because none of them ask the group to deal with you. They make the story bigger. And the person telling it will love you instantly because you just proved their story was worth telling. Then, a few minutes in, comes the quiet power move. Turn to the person next to you and ask, "So, how do you all know each other?" Now somebody is explaining the group to you. Which means somebody is connecting you to the group. Humans are tribal like that. Once one person treats you as in, everyone else quietly updates the file. This creature is one of ours now. I once got adopted by an entire friend group because one guy spent 5 minutes explaining everybody's nicknames to me. That was the whole entry fee. And it only happened because I wasn't doing the thing that sinks most people in groups. Which is this. Stop auditioning. Most people stand at the edge of a group thinking, I need to say something impressive soon, or they'll all wonder why I'm here. So they half listen, fully panic and hunt for their big moment like it's a talent show. It's not. Nobody is grading you, nobody is timing your contributions. A group that's talking is a campfire that's already burning. You don't walk up to a campfire and try to relight it with your own personal flame. You warm your hands on it. So swap the question in your head. Not, what should I say? But, what is this group into? Every group has a current. Somebody's teasing somebody. There's a running debate. There's a story being milked for the 3rd time. Find the current and float in it. The talking takes care of itself, usually about 2 minutes after you stop forcing it. And here's the strange part. The less you audition, the better you look. Relaxed reads as belonging. And belonging reads as status. The person working hardest at the edge of the circle is getting 1/10 of the result for 10 times the effort. And once you're floating, there's one small move that makes a group decide to keep you. I call it the assist rule. Whenever you can hand somebody the spotlight, do it. Somebody's story got interrupted, bring it back. Wait, you never finished? What happened with the landlord? Somebody's too modest to mention their own news? Mention it for them. Two people discover they have something in common? Point at it and step back. You both lived in Berlin? How did that happen? Assist, assist, assist. Because groups don't adopt the funniest person in the room. They adopt the person who makes the group feel better about itself. This is ancient wiring. You make the fire warmer for everybody, you get invited to the next fire. I've watched a guy say almost nothing all night except tell them the fairy story to a man he'd met 10 minutes earlier. By midnight, he was in the group photo. That's the entire trick. But none of it works if you break the one rule I promised you at the start. Never ask permission to join. Never walk up and say, "Sorry, can I join you guys?" I know, it sounds respectful. It feels humble. It's poison. The moment you ask, you turn 5 relaxed people into a committee that has to vote on you. You've framed yourself as an interruption, and now the whole circle has to renegotiate its borders in real time. Same disease, milder version. Hovering. Standing half in, half out, waiting for a formal invitation, like a kid at a jump rope counting the rhythm forever and never jumping. Here's the truth. Groups don't send invitations. There's no bouncer, no guest list, nobody in charge of letting you in. The circle opens for people who behave like it's already open, so stand fully in it. Shoulders in, feet in, react like a member. Speak when you have something. Don't apologize for existing. And when somebody shifts a little to make room for you, and they will, understand that that was the invitation. It just doesn't come in words. The orbit method gets you close. This is what gets you in. Because confidence isn't the entry fee, it's the receipt. And that's the secret nobody tells you about groups. You don't get let in, you fade in. Nobody in that laughing circle across the room was ever formally admitted. Every single one of them faded in once, years ago, exactly the way you're about to. So run the sequence. Orbit until you match the speed. Enter on the story, not on your name. Be the audience before you're the act. Hand out assists like candy. And never ever ask permission. Do that, and a closed circle of strangers stops feeling like a fortress and starts feeling like a door somebody left open for you. So next time you spot that group laughing at their 3-year-old barbecue joke, don't wait until you feel ready. Feelings are always late. I have a friend who texts I'm 5 minutes away from inside his own bathroom. Start drifting instead, because the people groups pull in aren't the most impressive ones. They're the ones who make the conversation better. And from the outside, nobody can tell the difference between a founding member and a really good faker who showed up 20 minutes ago. Subscribe for more videos like this.